Hi everybody, I'm Christian, this is Lazy Devs, this is Pico-8 Hero. It ends tonight, so to speak. I think I already made this joke before. So anyways, yeah, two more things left on our to-do list. Both of these are doable. The sash is a bit confusing. People don't see the ball underneath the sash, so that might lead to a situation where you lose the ball. So let's see if we can make the ball draw on top of the sash, or even better, it would be super nice if kind of like, if there was kind of something like a shadow of the ball looking through the sash. That's something I wanna go for. So let me see if we can, I think that was in juicy stuff, right? Draw sash, there we go. No, show sash, where's the draw sash? Sash. Show sash? No, that's the same thing. So I guess it's in a draw. So yeah, we're drawing the thing, and now comes something that we haven't talked about, but it's really useful. It's the clip function. So the clip function. I'm all the time I'm looking down at our token count because we might have to do another token pass. So we need two clip functions, two clip function calls. So here's what the clip function does. Let me look this up real quick. So the clip function basically defines a rectangle, and everything that you draw on the screen, if it's outside of the rectangle, it won't get drawn, but you know, it just affects the pixels, the actual pixels. So it kind of like defines like a clipping rectangle, so to speak. And that's why it's called clip, where everything outside of the rectangle gets like snipped off and clipped away. Not like deleted, but new things that you draw on top of already existing things won't show up there. I mean, won't show up outside of the clipping rectangle. And why are we using this? Well, because we want to show maybe like a circle. Basically, we want to show a dark circle of where the ball will be, of where the ball is underneath the sash. But we don't want the circle to be drawn on top of the ball if the ball is not underneath the sash. So we want to just restrict this dark circle to be on the surface of the sash. And we do this by using this clip function. And then if you run the clip function again without any parameters, then it gets reset. So the clip function. So we're going to start 0. (64 minus sash w), and the width is going to be 128, and this is going to be now the height. It's going to be sash w. Easy. And then again, clip here will reset the clipper. So we're just using this clip rectangle for a single call. And then we're gonna, now this is the problem. We don't have just one ball, we have multiple balls, right? So we're gonna have to actually loop through all of the balls that we have, and we're gonna have to draw them. Don't like this. Let me see where we're doing the ball. Oh yeah, there it is. Like this, right? Right, so we're looping through all of these. Let me have an eye. We're looking through all of these. We don't care about what kind of state the ball is in. We're just gonna draw the ball, and we're already above our token limit. God damn. God dang it. Hecken. Okay, but we're not gonna go SPR. We're gonna go circ fill. And now there's going to be this location. And the width and height, I think it was 2. And now the color, and the color is going to be the text of the sash. Like so. And then we don't need this sprite function. Still, we need to save a bunch of tokens to even run this. I mean, we already did a lot of this, so well, there's no other way around this than to do something like this. Not a big fan. Again, if we, you know, if I was in a concentrated kind of situation where I can think a lot, probably would even launch like an alternative editing program, so I can see a lot more code at the same time, maybe like 2 parts of the code at the same time, side by side. And, you know, one part of the program will be looking at all the core variables that we have in init. And the other part of the code would be like, you know, scrolling and searching for that where that variable shows up in the code, to make sure that that all of the variables that are in init and we are initializing in init, that we actually need them, because I think a lot of them we don't need. For example, here, and when we restart a level, we set some starting values to a lot of the variables. And if the variables weren't set in init, then they would start existing here. And so we might be doing a lot of double definitions for variables. And we have a lot of variables, so that might be a big difference. Bam. Okay, that saved us a bunch of tokens. And we can... I don't want to... So I did some like layout stuff, right? To kind of like cluster structurally things that belong together. And I don't want to destroy those clusters. So that's why I'm not putting everything into one huge line. Again, this is a menial thing, and it's actually something that makes the code very unreadable. So I was thinking maybe about doing the Coyote time, but considering how many tokens we would have to free up for that, and how much of the code would become completely unreadable, I'm opting not to do this, perhaps. False, false one. Oof, yeah, tough. Okay, now we're below the limit. Oh, interesting. We saw it show up, funny enough. So that was at least a bug. Not sure how that bug happened though. Oh, I know. Because we use X and we should Y. But it was kind of nice to see that it kind of worked. But it also wasn't nice that it was the wrong color, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it's the wrong color. And also the clipping doesn't seem to work right. Let's see. Weird. Why doesn't it work? Oh yeah, there's just one number in here. Just one number radius. Okay, so now it's just a problem with the clipping thing. Ah, so the width is just half of it, so we need to multiply by 2. So sash W was referring to half of the width of the sash, not to the entire width of the sash. Which, you know, aligns with what we saw. Like we saw the ball kind of weirdly disappear in the middle of the sash. Oh, come on, launch something. Eventually I will get some power-ups, I swear. Yep. Oh, somehow it's weird. It doesn't seem to appear in the... It's weird. It's weird. What it is. It's weird. It doesn't seem to appear exactly in the same. I mean, I guess 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, it's the center of the ball, right? So it's not supposed to be -3. Yeah, that looks better. Actually, let me make a small GIF out of this so we can analyze it. Or actually, let's make it F6. Let's make screenshots. Don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. I'm charging some batteries for a drone. Oh, come on. Let's restart this. Or maybe let's go to a level where there's more power-ups. Maybe here? I love how it didn't hit any power up yet. Now it's slow. This is the worst power up for this. I almost saw it. No, don't go slow again. Why? Why you try? This game is the best. It's so trolley. It's a trolley problem. Okay, I think we saw it now. So now I on my desktop I saved some GIFs. Wait a minute. I always forget which one on which side I am. Am I on a GIF or GIF side? I think GIF. I'm on the GIF side. Yeah, GIF sounds fine. Yeah. It's difficult to tell. Yeah, I know it's exciting because you don't see the GIFs, but they're not as clear cut as I thought they would be. Okay, I think the last one is one we can take a look at a little bit. But on the other hand, you know, if you can't tell, you will know, and so forth. You know, if you can't tell by now, then maybe it's not good, or maybe it's good. It seems like a very subtle subtle effect. Maybe we should make the ball bigger. Okay, so now I'm loading it up in Photoshop, so I can actually scroll to the frame, through the frames, and see what is happening. Oh my gosh! Oh, where's the timeline? I'm sorry. This is I should have planned this. I didn't think that it would necessary to do this kind of analysis, but that's something that I really like about Pico-8, that you can do this analysis. You know, you can actually. Oh, okay, yeah, that looks good. But you can analyze this in such a detailed manner. So it seems like it's not quite, like it clips too much, a little bit too much. So the ball, when it goes through a sash, there's a bit of an outline, so to speak. I think it goes through it again here. No, it's the alignment is good, but I think we need just a +1 at the end. Yeah, that's good. Okay, good. Okay, so let's go like the clip is gonna be the height +1. Let's try this guy. Go through this. Let's try this level again. It's okay. Yeah, that seems fine. Yeah, that's good. I want to actually play through all the way through to see if I get to trigger the sudden death. Yeah, but it seems like it's correct now. Like once there was like because the width and the way you do the clipping rectangle, the way you define the clipping rectangle is different from how you draw. Oh my gosh! Look at this, the mayhem. Oh, this is amazing. The way you define a clipping rectangle is different than the way you draw a rectangle. That's weird, because when you draw a rectangle, you define the x and y, right? But when you this is so good. Oh, this is fun. This game is good. Cool. So the way you draw a rectangle is different than the way you do the clipping stuff. When you do a rectangle, you say x1 and x2, x1 and y1, and x2 and x2. So you define the two corners of the rectangle and then draws the rectangle between them. But when you do the clipping rectangle, you define the top left corner and then the width and the height. And so that's why you sometimes get like a -1 and +1 issue there. Because yeah, because yeah, but sort of, if you imagine, like, let's say the rectangle starts at 1 and ends at 2, that 1 minus 2 is 1, so you would think that the width of the rectangle is 1, but actually it's 2 times 2 pixels. So it's kind of like a, starting with 0 problem with programming. Anyways, so yeah, we did this problem now, and there is still the coyote time, but look at our token count. I don't like this. I don't think we're going to squeeze the the coyote time in there, especially since I was already a little bit skeptical about the coyote time. I think this would be one of these things where we would have to add a lot of like if statements and write code that we already have on a different spot, because it's like we redirecting the ball when we hit the ball, but the coyote time would force us to also kind of have like a different function that also redirects the ball that is not happening while the ball is collided. And then like a lot of if statements, because we want also just the ball to be redirected in one direction, but not the other one direction. And so we want it to redirect in the direction that is more difficult to direct it into. So it's kind of like, we can do it, but it's a lot of code and the tokens say no. And I don't want to go through this code and squish this together into like this unreadable mess, because then that's kind of like defeats the purpose of why we're doing this tutorial series in the first place. And I feel the game it's not breaking the game in a way that makes it completely unplayable. I think it's just like a normal part of the challenge. So I would keep like this and see, but keep an eye out on this when now we are going to do the next playtesting session. So again, this is what I was talking about, this how we call it, iterative game design, or general iterative design, where you design one version of something, not with this idea that this is the final thing, but just to see how it works. And then you get a lot of feedback, and some of the feedback says you have to change something, and you go back to the drawing board, you do some changes, and then you go for another iteration, you show it to people, play test this, and then get feedback back and so forth, until at some point, because what you want to do is you want to get rid of the most obvious flaws, because there might be some flaws underneath. Once people are fine with fonts and spelling and stuff like that, which are obvious things that you just jump out at you, then you actually get to the core maybe problems with the program. So that's why you want to actually go through this multiple times to see if there's something problematic underneath, perhaps, that needs to be revealed. And then once you got through it, once you feel like you're no longer getting negative feedback, and that people are actually enjoying themselves, and then there's nothing jumping out at them, then you can actually start thinking about maybe releasing them. Maybe you actually arrived at something. Because throughout this process of reiterating and rethinking and going back to the drawing board, you sometimes discover things that you haven't thought about first. For example, like this sudden death thing was, I think, very, very useful for me, like to understand, oh, okay, yes, so this is kind of like the dynamic that was caused in this game, even though I was just following a recipe of a already well-established and existing game. There's like, it seems like, there's not too much decisions from our side, but still, maybe you don't realize something about the game, how it works and so forth. So yeah, so again, I will now go through a playtesting session, and there's going to be another video probably later on where I will summarize the playtesting session. If there is something that comes up in the playtesting session, then we're going to discuss it. Maybe we're going to try to fix this. And if there's nothing else coming up, then the next episode is going to be where we do maybe like a post-mortem, discussing generally what went right and what went wrong in this project, and maybe taking in some feedback on what are we going to do next, because now we have all this free time. Hey. So yeah, see you next time around, guys. Bye bye.